Hey, government watchdogs who were fired by President Donald Trump are now suing. The lawsuit filed today in federal court asks the judge to declare the firings unlawful and restore the inspector generals to their positions at the agency. So Congress was not given the legally required 30-day notices about the removals. More than a dozen inspector generals, though, were dismissed on the fourth full day of the president's second term. All right, let's bring in Chief Legal Analyst Clive Rhodes to this conversation. So walk us through this new lawsuit coming out with these watchdogs now saying, I want my job back. Yeah,
I mean, what they're saying is, as you mentioned in the lead-in, there's a requirement that they give notice to Congress that this is going to happen. And when I say they, I'm talking about the president. This is all from these inspector generals. You have to think about it. This whole inspector general office was only created in the 70s, late 70s. Why? In the wake of Watergate. You had a lot of corruption that was happening during that time. They wanted to ensure that there was no corruption occurring. So you install these inspector generals that work at the pleasure of the president, but are there to oversee and ensure that these groups, these agencies, they are not doing things that are outside of their scope. And so to remove these individuals, it raises the question, well, is the job of the watchdog, the inspector general, actually being done? Now, to a certain extent, it would be done, because if an inspector general is removed, the first behind them comes and takes over their job. And so it's not like it's completely vacant. What I've seen so far is that they've only removed the inspector generals, not everybody on their staff. However, I would assume that the goal is to remove all these folks, and at some point it has to happen because the president has the authority to do it.
Right. I mean, and that's a very important part right here, because it goes to, do they have a case? And I also think, too, is, are you really surprised by this? If you know that your focus is not the administration's focus, I mean, you'd have to be kind of aware that your job would be in jeopardy.
Well, even though we're in politics, I hate to try to politicize these roles. These roles are really supposed to be apolitical. They are there to ensure that the job of whatever that agency is doing. I mean, you're talking about folks that filed this complaint: the Department of Defense, Veteran Affairs, Health and Human Services, State, Education, Agriculture, Labor, and Small Business. None of those are political. In this era of today, where we're on these mountains of polarizing and political sides, we tend to politicize everything. But these are not political in nature. They're to ensure, are you writing the checks right? Are you ensuring that our money is being properly utilized? Are you not, coordinating with other countries and ensuring that we're giving out secrets to other folks? Those are the things that these watchdogs are doing. It really doesn't have anything to do with politics. And so the fact that we're attempting to politicize this just puts me in the mindset of where we are as a country, because these positions are not really political.
And with that being said, talking politics right now, I mean, this is coming at a point when members of Trump's own party now coming out saying the president must respect the judicial system. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Senator Lisa Murkowski, and also Senator James Lankford, who you're seeing all their statements right now, all made statements yesterday. I mean, just getting your thoughts now that you're seeing the GOP coming out saying, hey, we don't agree with what's going on.
Well, what I can say is that it's buried in the lead-in right there, which is you have members of the GOP, the president's own party, having to encourage the president to follow orders from the judiciary. I mean, in itself, that's problematic. We have three separate branches of government. Those separate branches of government, the only way they work is if the individual branches respect the other individuals' branches' authority. That's how the executive has power vested in him. Why? Because Congress has given the executive the power that's vested in him. And then you have a judiciary that checks and does the balances on all of those. And so for you to say we have to remind you to follow the rules of a court, if he wasn't the president, if he was just a random citizen, no one would say, hey, don't forget, you got to follow these orders that the court has given you. And I want to circle back to this. The removal of the inspector general is not something new. It has been done before, and I have to double down on it. It is 100% within the president's power and authority to do it. You can look at history. Ronald Reagan did it. He did it on his first term in office, and he kicked up a lot of feathers, maybe the first couple weeks. The problem with that is, right after that, he reappointed 5 folks that he just removed. President Obama did it. President Trump did it in 2020. So presidents have done this before in the past. The issue is now is the removal of all of them at the same time, and the partisan politicizing of the removal of those folks.
Clive Rhodes, we appreciate your insight.